Hello and welcome, folks, to another exciting edition of the Panthers podcast. A couple more of those for the people. You're watching the Michigan Panthers podcast, and
You're in the jungle now, baby.
Love it, love it. That one's from Pineapple Express. I am your host, FBI Tugboat.
You ever made out with a tugboat?
Caster, host extraordinaire, content creator, everything else like that. Now, let's go ahead and hop right on into this one. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. I promise this time, I know. I've said that before, but what I'm going to try to do is especially like once the season starts, going to try and do 2 different episodes, each a little bit shorter, and just overall cover like fewer topics and whatnot. So let's hop on into it. We're really only going to talk about 3 things here on the day. First and foremost, the James Larson interview with Coach Nolan of the Michigan Panthers, head coach, obviously. Big shout out James Larson and into the PFN. Second is obviously for training camp cuts, right? We have our official rosters. I believe there's 50 players on the current roster with one in injured reserve. Who made it, who didn't, we'll talk about it. And a tiny little bit of information about futures updates and whatnot here for the league. Hopping into it, James Larson interview. Yes, James Larson sat down with Coach Nolan. I think it was posted like 5 days ago or so. It is March 21st as of right now. Bunch of awesome March Madness stuff going on, right? James Larson got to sit down with him. Main topics, talk the QB battle, obviously. Bryce Perkins, Danny Etling, and Rocky Lombardi over there. If you've seen the announcements, then you know what that generally that setup is going to be. If not, we'll cover it in just a second. Also talk about Steve Kaiser, the general manager for the Michigan Panthers. I have personally always been fascinated by the talent scout role. Steve Kaiser has been doing that for a very, very long time. In the interview, Coach Nolan makes it very, very clear how appreciative he is of Steve Kaiser, and with that, I'll say it. There's a certain amount of people, they always say don't meet your heroes and stuff like that. I think that's kind of dumb. Just have reasonable expectations, right? Have reasonable expectations, and don't try to meet like every single hero, right? Steve Kaiser has officially made it onto the list of people that I would like to meet. In person, shake his hand, 5 minutes over a cup of coffee or beer or something like that. I would love that. The thing I want to talk about here, as it is in reference to our main topic here with roster cuts and whatnot, is how much this was about, how much James Larson talked to him about like the returning players and the kind of effect that a player having played for the Michigan Panthers last year will have had, right? And it's like this real fine line that coaching staff, not only in actions but in words, want to like ride between. Like, obviously all guys can come in here, they're not in training camp for no reason, right? That they have the skills to pay the bills, they are here, and they're given an opportunity to perform. But the big thing with the UFL you have to realize is that with these short training camps, and Coach Nolan addressed this is kind of like the basis of everything he was saying, with such short training camp seasons, you can't even call it that, it was like a week and a half, right? 2 weeks, something like this, where they just work on individual positions earlier on, and then get into a bunch of scrims later on and stuff like this, right? There's just not a whole lot of time to really flesh out the really, really, outside of the really, really great things or the things the players are lacking. So Coach Nolan essentially said that with such a short camp, guys that played last year, they're going to have less to like prove. There's going to be less of like that first date type mentality. That's my phrasing, not his. But like, like that less first date and like feeling out of this player and like, like how are they going to fit? Well, will they fit in the culture in general, right? And then like how exactly positionally wise are they within the right one? Obviously, there's not a whole lot of players that come into UFL training camps and then switch positions. Shout out to Alex Magoo, right? Quarterback to wide receiver in the NFL. Didn't obviously get to do a whole lot there, but a fantastic player in of his own right. Anyway, point is, that's how Coach Nolan was talking about a whole lot of this. Let's go on and hop in and talk about the lineups. Yes, bang bang. Here we go. I obviously have your text base here. We'll look at that in a second. Let's go. Oh, yeah, and obviously we got me arguing with somebody about Bryce Perkins, and as you guys know, how I definitely think he should be under center for the Michigan Panthers. Let's take a look. Also, I'm not sure if this was a mistake. Panthers social media staff, guys, I absolutely love you. I think there may have supposed to have been audio on this, but there is not. I've already checked like the meeting and stuff. So for a very quiet 30 seconds. Let's go! Bryce Perkins, Danny Etling, Rocky Lombardi. This has kind of been, it should be noted that these, I believe, are all going in order of their number, not necessarily their starting position, but Bryce Perkins, Danny Etley, Rocky Lombardi. I believe this is the three. We kind of expected a quarterback battle between these two. But between Bryce Perkins and Dan Lanning, I believe Bryce Perkins is coming on top based on training camp footage and other stuff that I've seen online. The position of them here with Danny Etley on top, Bryce Perkins down here, I don't think really has too much to. Wait, yeah, Danny Etley up here, Bryce Perkins down here. Sorry. Anyway, moving on along here. Happy for that. Now, our wide receiver core. This is a skill position, as they say, last year that was really hit or miss. Marcus individually, a lot of these guys, Samson Nakua, Marcus Sims, Devin Ross, Sayosi Manor, all like really popped off. The obviously Jalen Moore, Xavier Malone, and especially Malik Turner are not new to the game of football by any means. I'm just saying these are the dudes who like really popped off last year, and whenever the rock was thrown their way, you had to hold your breath as a Michigan Panther, right? I believe Marcus Sims came out with the most yards. No, sorry. Yeah, the slot guy came out with the most yards here. So Marcus Sims, I believe, was most receptions and most receiving touchdowns. Very happy with this. There's a lot of I'm not gonna say room for improvement. There's a lot of like wiggle room there in different packages, and what I'm saying, based on, come on, hang on, there you go, based on these 7 guys. Moving on along to the running back core here. Again, I believe this is not in order of like starting position here. I believe Jaden Sheridan is going to be down the bottom here. Matthew Colburn and Nate McCreary, obviously plenty of experience within. Obviously played with us last year. I believe McCreary, this is going to be his 3rd year with us as well. Moving on into the secondary. 2 quarters right here. Maybe this is just me. Oh, no, they're just loading up on safeties. Never mind. Obviously, free safety Kanakua. Very happy about that. Bryce Tornaden as well. Adonis Alexander. And I did, half of a damn episode on last year. A fantastic player with good reason. Levante Taylor on the other side in that cornerback positioning right there. Most excited for, like I said, Gillespie, Tornado, Kainakua, and Adonis Alexander. Levante Taylor is no spring chicken, right? Wait, no, spring chicken means there's old. Is no slouch, is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. Moving on along here. There you go. One of the things I'm most excited for, Gabriel Floyd, is our 1 player on injured reserve, I believe. Obviously, we'll be playing 2 or 3 of these, most any packages. Javen White, Noah Dawkins, Frank Ginda, and Donovan Mutin. Frank Ginda, stats speak for themselves, right? Did fantastic things in previous years, and obviously got accolades for it. Very happy, very happy with this. Not that our defensive, our linebackers and the defense, or at least like the front 7 were the big issue last year. I mean, not that there was like any big issue really. This right here is where our issue sometimes was, and why our quarterbacks were scrambling so much. Thank God they were running quarterbacks like Bryce Perkins, though, right? Shima Korafor, very happy. I mean, all 3 of these guys right here. These are also big dudes. We will look at some of their weights coming into this. Cole Cabral as well. Noah Johnson, Victor Kern. I believe I'm saying that right, or maybe Kearney. I feel like I've heard that said out loud before. Possibly Victor. Hey, if you ever watch this, sorry, bud. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Keith Russell, Brian Dooley as well. Featured here is Noah Johnson, of course. There you go. Moving on along here. The big man, Walter Palmore, 99 for a reason. Actually, not the heaviest on the team anymore. With our updated stats on the next page, I'll talk about that as well. But hey, when Braylon speaks, you will listen. Fantastic stuff. Very glad to have this guy back, as well as Mike Tufua. This is, again, very happy with this. The Carters here, Ron Stone Jr., Kenny Wilkins. There's 3 L's there. I don't believe there's supposed to be 3 L's. Tight end, possibly the least surprising here. I believe this actually is in order. Yeah, I believe this actually is in order here from starting position with Cole Hicatini. Now, the offensive line could sometimes use some help. They obviously frequently get it from the tight end position. But this guy right here, I'm very happy about this. A little bit more depth, like just adding a 4th player I wouldn't necessarily been against, but 3 tight ends, nothing bad. Now, this is going to be, I believe Jordan Ober is going to be returning. BT Potter, obviously, going to be new right here. I knew we were looking at Chris Blewett as well. Seth Vernon going to be the punter right here. I believe Seth Vernon has played in spring football. Honestly, I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember if he played for us last year. So that's going to be the squad. Let's go ahead and look at the numbers in case you're that kind of viewer. Let me zoom this out a little bit. No, let's zoom it in because you're not going to be able to read it otherwise, right? I believe. I guess it depends on what if you're watching on mobile or not. Here, I'll just like slowly scroll through here as I talk about some of the things I'm happy about and some of the things I'm a little bit surprised about. First and foremost, put this on Twitter and whatnot. John Hightower, wide receiver, out. Right? Played with us last year, obviously. Did some fantastic things, but just like other people on social medias, what I feel like that is not necessarily like, oh well, John Hightower is like goated and we're getting rid of him. He is goated and we're getting rid of him. What I'm saying, like not like in a bad way. What I'm saying is that what that seems like is that our wide receiver core is just so competitive. Like those positions were just so freaking competitive that a guy like John Hightower did fantastic things last year. I mean, you know, the name really does ring true right there. Tall guy who made big jumping grabs. Not a whole lot of them, but when they were, they're more than 15 yards usually. So maybe there's just somebody else who's kind of come in there and taking that position. And obviously it was a competition for that position. And John Hightower didn't make it. That sucks to see. Really hope he plays on some kind of team, just not maybe for the USFL concerts, right? Don't want to play against that guy frequently. Second thing I was a little bit surprised about was Toa Tua did not get featured here in the running back core and has played with us for several years as well. This is a young guy out of Nevada, if I remember right, the Wolfpack up there in the northern side of Nevada. I'm obviously in Las Vegas in the southern side. So a little bit surprised about that, especially given the returning positions here with Matt Colburn, Nate McCreary, and the third one he was just up here, I just saw it. Bam, there you go. Jaden Sheridan from Monmouth. Okay, yeah, maybe a little bit of a smaller college, but it really is. Not that Wake Forest is huge. Also, want to give a huge shout out to all my Carolina boys here. BT Potter, that's pretty cool. Never mind. That's right. That was the Clemson player. Huge South Carolina fan. Obviously, I'm joking around. Other Carolina, other Carolinians, Noah Dawkins. Oh yeah, I knew that from last year. Duh. I personally am from Charleston, so most of these guys are from the upstate. Oh, I did not know that. Adonis Alexander out of Charlotte, Queen City. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Sorry, getting back to what I was talking about. Happy about Perkins on top. You know, I said it last year, say it again. Do believe he's the best player for the role, and I'm very, very happy that Coach Nolan is bringing him back. The wide receiver core, yeah, Nakua, Sims, Mariner, Ross as returners who made big waves last year, with plenty of more talent here to go forth and make their own stamp onto the Michigan Panthers. Receiving offense, I'd love to see it. Love to see it. Again, not that there's room for improvement or anything else like that, but I think that's the better way to put it. I think that's that most pop-off potential, right? Given that we have some of the stronger players from last year, as well as new blood who can come in, make this game their own. Running backs, I'm happy about it, but the simple fact is that I don't think we had a single running backs we didn't have any running backs play all 10 games, right? Our quarterbacks, our running backs were just constantly injured. That is also something else that Coach Nolan talked about in the Birmingham. Sorry, just to skip back for like 10 seconds that I missed. Part of the James Larson interview was about Birmingham, right? It's always got to be a part of a conversation when you're talking about a team because the postseason always has to be a focus for any team, right? And to get to the championship, you're gonna have to obviously the way it's set up, you gotta have to go through the Birmingham Stallions. That is not something that's happened so far, right? Only one team, the San Antonio Brahmas, took them down last year. Well, the Ponies figured it out, and it was a 25-0 rout in the championship for the UFL in year number 1 last year. It always has to go through Birmingham. Coach Nolan talked about how we were injury plagued and then didn't slow the game down because we were ahead. I believe it was 22 to 14, 22 to 13, something like that at the half or something like that. But then just with the increased tempo, we weren't able to keep that one up. It's interesting to hear that from Coach Nolan because I've said similar things, obviously not as eloquently as him. Going back to it, going back to to here in rosters and things that that I like. I like McCreary coming back in. I like Colburn right here. I like the new guy as well, Jaden Sheridan. Especially with how many injuries we saw last year, obviously more running backs can be picked up, more positions can be picked up after injuries and injured reserve positions get filled up and stuff like this. But I just want this to be consistent. I guess that's all I'm saying. And returning to big names from last year is a way to do that. Again, like in comparison, that's what I'm talking about here, with the wide receiver core probably having those pop-off potential out of any skill position, as they say. Very, very happy about the defensive line, as I said, guys. Not surprised whatsoever about the tight end lineup here, and Cole Hikatini is definitely a guy who can help out that who can help out that line. Where's this? There we go. I don't know why I put that over there. Oh, and as far as kicker position, yeah, obviously BT Potter going to have some big shoes to fill with Jake Bates going on in the UFL and doing some fantastic things. Moving on along here, wrapping up the episode. We're looking at the 15 minutes right now. Let's talk about futures.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Basically, guys, the DraftKings, whose odds were copied by Caesars, boo, cowards, have not really changed very much at all. You know what? I can't much. Let me just bring them up. Right? I'm going to talk about them. Let's just bring them up. It's going to take 2 minutes, guys. I'm not gonna dwell on this super long. Bang. Here we go. Move this over here, this up, and transition. Bang. So, clear-cut favorites plus 200 here. Yeah, none of these numbers have moved. Really, all I'm saying is I'm doubling down on what I said last year, what I said a couple weeks ago, that the best like bang for your buck here is probably the Memphis Showboats, especially after things that were heard at a training camp. No leaks here. No leaks here. Or the San Antonio Brahmas. Obviously, the Showboats getting there would have to go through the Birmingham Stallions, but plus 200 is not a good future for any lock. And honestly, the things that I've seen this year, I can see Birmingham losing it 2 games. I can definitely. I think that's completely fair. I could maybe even see them losing 3 games, like us one of the times, the Showboats one of the times, and or somebody from the XFL conference, your Arlington Renegades or your DC Defenders, and then San Antonio, right? Anyway, yeah. So Showboats or Battlehawks, Brahmas, DC, and then one more from the Brahmas or something like that. Then hopefully one from us. I don't know. Anyway, I can comfortably see the Stallions losing to this upcoming year. My point is this. Sorry, I'm getting off track here, so it's going to be short. Look around, because there are other books. Here in Vegas specifically, Circa had like plus 2,400 odds for the Memphis Showboats, and I almost actually took this because, again, these odds are copied onto Caesars. DraftKings obviously not present in Las Vegas. So that's going to be about it for there. If you liked what you heard, FBI underscore tugboat literally everywhere, and I do not have the updated son of a gun. I don't have the updated Michigan or UFM stuff. Big shout out to United Football Media, of which I am a part. Is going to see all of your ads and stuff like that. I need to get the updated one. That's on me. If you liked what you heard, FBI underscore tugboat literally everywhere. Follow me on the channel, like, subscribe, all that cool stuff, if you so choose. If not, that is totally a-okay. Do go and follow the UFM, and for this podcast specifically, again, big shout out to James Larson and PFN over there. Guys, follow everybody on the UFM. Follow myself. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the flip side.